Hello to everybody out here. Welcome to United Sports TV. I'm Nana One. I'm your host for today. And guys, that is the harder news about Manchester United in the Premier League. And I welcome everybody here today, guys. We got a lot to talk about, man. Today we're going to talk about the good things Manchester United has been doing that hasn't been recognized. Although you guys do know, whenever there's a bad news, we sit down, we discuss and dissect it and find solutions to it. But we never talk about the good stuff that United have been doing. You know, some is public and some is behind closed doors. So today we're going to get into it, talk about most of those stuff, and we check on our game at Goodison Park against Everton. I know that you got a new stadium, but I still know them as the Goodison Park, you know, because that's where Everton been played ever since I've been supporting United in the Premier League. So we talk about that. Then guys, you gotta ask me whatever questions you guys got today. Hey, as I've been saying, you can check out my community, United Sports TV family. Leave out your messages, leave out your comments, whatever you want to ask me. Hey, I'm here, I'm your man. And always remember, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. So I always do appreciate and give thanks to you guys, you know, because that is the trust that I need to build with you guys for you to at least give me the maximum support I do need. So I appreciate you guys for that. All right, guys, let's get into it. Today we're talking about the positive stuff that Manchester United has done the past seasons, this season, or whatever season it was. We're going to talk about that because, guys, let's just say there are some players who were not really fitting into United squad, but the management and some other coaches were, I don't know, should I say they were nurturing them or they were just pampering them to see how long they could just stay around. But that wasn't the case because there was never a position for them in the team because those guys were not helping. For example, like Anthony, who came from Ajax Amsterdam. Guys, we also saw a terrible mistake that Eric Ten Hag did because the problem was, why would you sign Anthony if you coach him and Mohamed Kudus of Tottenham Hotspur? I'm not a coach here, but I know football. I know how it works. But if I'm a coach, there's never a way I'm signing Anthony and leaving what Mohamed Kudus behind. Kudus is a devastator. Kudus got a footwork. Kudus is a box-to-box player. Kudus can give you variety of ideas on the field. Kudus can play multiple positions on the field of play, but not Anthony. So that was the most biggest mistake from Eric Ten Hag, to sign Anthony at that price, all in the name of being a Brazilian and leaving Mohamed Kudus out. Secondly, Garnacho. That is a 20-year-old boy who was about to shine. The whole world knew Garnacho was going to be Man United's future. But what happened? After Europa League lost to Tottenham Hotspur last season, with his comments and some stuff he started doing, not going to training, putting on Aston Villa jersey, flirting on Instagram, saying a lot of stuff, thinking Manchester United is the kind of club he could just do anything he wants and have his way. No. That has been happening for some decade. We do know that, but not this time around. And that's the only good thing I can say about the Ineos and the Glazers, because they look at some players and they let them go. And most supporters thought there was not going to be a replacement. But guess what we are now? Where are we now? United is in the top 4. United is fighting for the Premier League. But with these guys for the past seasons, we never saw anything like that. Because there was no discipline, there was no dedication from these guys. So these are things that I will always say about the Ineos and the Glazers era. These are good things they did for us to know as fans that, yeah, they are really there to support this club. Because Garnacho was supposed to go. And look at him now at Chelsea. He's not even being used as a sub for the past 3-4 games. But Garnacho, everybody at United thought that was the star boy who was going to be the future for this club. But look at him now. From 100 to a 0. That's where it is now. Rasmus Hojlund. Rasmus Hojlund wasn't producing enough for Manchester United in the Premier League. Fine. I keep saying this. It doesn't mean you are a player. That means that you can go to every team and succeed. That's not how it works. It's life. Like in normal life, it's not every work that's going to suit you. It's not every work that you're going to benefit from. It's not every work that you're going to feel happy doing it. There are some jobs you as a person, you're doing it, you know that, yes, I want to be here. I want to do this. The same thing applies to Rasmus Holland. Holland wasn't, I wouldn't say he wasn't happy at Man United. He wanted to stay, fight for his position. But what Man United needed, Rasmus Holland never had it. He never did. Another problem from Eric Ten Hag. I'm not saying he's not a good player compared to Anthony. Rasmus Holland is a good finisher. He's a good player. But he never had anything for Manchester United in the Premier League or Europe. So it was good for him to move to Napoli, find his life there, and do whatever he has to do. The guy is really doing well in the Serie A for Napoli. But I'm not going to sit here and make him feel like he should have still been at Man United because there was going to be opportunity or chances for him. No, there was never going to be nothing for him. It's good that he's moved on with his football career, doing good somewhere else. But at United, he was done. Because Man United needed strikers who are what? On time. Who are goal poachers, knows what they're doing, positioning, everything. That's what United needed. So it wasn't nothing like, oh, why would you let Rasmus Holland go and go get Benjamin Sesko? Bro, if you ask me in 1,000 questions, I'll answer you yes, 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 because Benjamin Sesko is an upgrade to Rasmus Holland. As simple as that. Benjamin Sesko gives us a lot of varieties on the field of play, more than what Rasmus Holland was offering us last season. So I wouldn't say much about that. But for Marcus Rashford, it was his decision to move on to Barcelona. It wasn't anything like he wasn't trying to play for United. Rashford wanted to take on a new challenge. He wanted to move on and find things out there. He wanted to take new challenges. So it was his decision to move to Villa, then from Villa, move on to Barcelona, as life is being good for him recently with an injury problem, which he could be back, several weeks, coming. But all what I'm trying to say is these are good decisions that was made by Ineos and Glazers to let these players go, because it wasn't nobody's fault that happened. But it would have been our fault if you were not able to solve this problem, let these guys go. Yes, Anthony is doing good at Real Betis. As I said already, we understand that. Jadon Sancho's life from Chelsea to Aston Villa, the guy is still finding his life in the Premier League. After thinking he was untouchable, nobody could touch him. He could do whatever he wants to do. Play video games, Pampers, go to the nightclub and do all that. As a what? A professional player? As a well-trained player from Manchester United, there was no way United was going to make him stick around with that kind of behavior. There was no discipline in him, so he supposed to go. There's nothing wrong about that. So for these 5-6 players that United let them go, I'm really proud about that. And lastly, Onana. To let that guy go to Turkey to go find his life and bring Lamens in, that was the good thing I've ever seen from Manchester United. Because now looking at our polls, we are secure compared to when Onana was here. It was doomed for Manchester United in every game. So I recommend Ineos, I recommend Glazers, I also recommend, Ruben Amorim and some other staff for bringing some of these players in to replace these players gone. Because that was a good deal. I wouldn't lie, and let's also know that this summer, Casemiro is the only player who has announced that he's leaving. But you and me knows that there are a lot of players over there that's supposed to follow Casemiro's footsteps. They're supposed to be moving with. They're supposed to be getting the advice while he's leaving too. Because there's no way you're going to be at a club for a whole decade and not see nothing from you. And most of the decade, let's say 5 years, has been injury. You are just an injury prone. You don't participate, like you don't offer nothing on the field of play, but yet you getting paid. And still there, these are some of players that's supposed to go. An example is Diogo Dalot. Diogo Dalot supposed to go. Diogo Dalot, because as a right back, we don't see much input from him, much crosses from outside the box towards strikers or whatever attackers. We never, that is something that I really think he doesn't have in his arsenal, because it's really bad. It is really bad that they can get crosses in, because we have the players to finish those passes, but yet we don't have them. So Diogo Dalot, Luke Shaw, Luke Shaw also been there for over 10 years. This is his 12th year. And what has Luke Shaw been doing? As I said already, injury prone, because most of the 12 years has been injury. We've not had enough from Luke Shaw. And looking at his age, there's nothing he has to offer for Manchester United again. So why not let him go this summer and bring in a new talented young ones that can play for longer seasons, longer years for Manchester United? This is what we're asking of you guys, man, because these guys are old. They're supposed to go. Manu Ugarte, ever since Ugarte arrived, that has been the worst signing ever for Manchester United. Because this guy at Sporting Lisbon, I believed in him. I always admire him. Moved on to PSG, that was my man. But ever since he got into the Premier League, I don't know what has happened to Manu Ugarte, but the guy has been he's been a disgrace for Manchester United. He's always giving us an average performance in a game. So Manu Ugarte has nothing for us. He's supposed to go. Anthony Elanga, it was good for him to go, because life at Newcastle now, he's really doing good, having a life over there. But for United, it was over for him, because there was no spaces, there was no position for him to acquire over there. Who was he going to overthrow? That was the question. So for Anthony Elanga, that was also a good thing for him to also go. And not to talk about Tom Heaton, Man United third goalkeeper. This man is grown. And his salary cap can basically bring in a new talented goalkeeper that will help us around. So what is Tom Heaton still sticking around at Manchester United doing? Nobody needs him. His age, he's washed out. Nothing he has to offer for Manchester United in the Premier League. So what are we talking about right now? What are we really talking about right now? Keeping all these players around for what? So as I'm saying, if Ineos and Glazers can really let Anthony go to Betis, Garnacho leave, Jadon Sancho, Rasmus Hojlund, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Elanga, like most players, you want them to leave, and yeah, they left having life out there. So why can't we let these guys also go? Because Casemiro has always announced that he's trying to leave this summer. Me, Diogo Dalot should follow. Manu Ugarte should follow. There's no way. I wouldn't say Harry Maguire. Maguire has still something in him that Manchester United is going to need in future. But for me, these guys has to go. Diogo Dalot, Luke Shaw, Manu Ugarte, and Tom Heaton. These four players, their salary cap can bring in a lot of signings that's going to be beneficial to this club. So there's no way we're going to sit around and just make it feel like it's okay. No, it's not okay. You guys done it before. And it was good. So why not do it now? Because we don't need this overloaded squad getting paid with no input coming from them. They need to move on, and United need to move on from them. Because it's terrible seeing these performances and seeing these guys around with nothing coming out from them. And these guys are getting paid each and every week. Some getting extension and stuff. No, these guys need to go. We need that salary cap to bring in players. Because as I've always been saying, Manchester United squad is half of Man City squad, Arsenal squad, Chelsea squad, and I will even go on and say Tottenham squad. But it's their manager. Tottenham is their management that is killing them. Because Tottenham has a bench that is better than Manchester United. I will clarify that. You call a spade, you don't call it a dagger. That's what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? All right, guys. Let's talk about game tomorrow, man. We know with Everton, it's always something else. It's always something else. And going to their new stadium, I know it's not Goodison Park, it's a new stadium now, but I'm yet to find out the name of the stadium. But I know with Everton, it's always full of surprises, because our last 5 games with Everton has never been easy. Monday, the 24th November 2025, in the Premier League, we all know what happened. We all saw what happened when Idrissa Gana made a mistake of hitting his own player, getting a red card, suspended, and Everton played 90 minutes of the game with 10 players and still what? Went home with all the maximum 3 points, beating Man United at Old Trafford just by a goal to nil. We all saw that. That was the worst performance under Ruben Amorim that I've ever seen. I don't care about the Grimsby game in the FA Cup. That Everton game was the most disgraceful thing I've ever seen from Ruben Amorim. Saturday, 22nd February 2025 in the Premier League, Everton 2, Manchester United 2 at Goodison Park. I remember that game. It was a back and forth affair. We scored, they equalized, we scored. That's how the game ended. Sunday, December 1st, 2024, Premier League, Man United 4, Everton 0 at Old Trafford. Sunday, 9th March 2024, Premier League, Manchester United 2, Everton 0. Sunday, the 26th November 2023, Premier League, Everton 0, Manchester United 3 at Goodison Park. So it's been 3 wins, 2 at Old Trafford and 1 at Goodison Park. 1 draw with 1 loss. And that was the loss. These guys played with 10 players when Idrissa Gana hit his own player and got suspended with a red card. They played almost all the 90 minutes with what? 10 players and still won at Old Trafford. So for me, it's been 3 wins, 2 at Old Trafford, 1 at Goodison Park, 1 draw, and 1 loss at Old Trafford. For me, these 5 games, I wouldn't say is something really good that United need to keep up. No. Against Everton has always been a problem, and I keep saying this. There are some teams in the Premier League, it's always going to be a tough game for Manchester United because it's a history, it's a rivalry, it's always been there. There's never a way we're going to get past it. But that doesn't mean United cannot what? Draw a table or draw a plan and overtake these guys. There's always a way to beat these guys. And I believe in my team. I believe in Michael Carrick and what he's doing. 4 wins and a draw in 5 games. That is the best you can ever get from an interim coach in his first 5 games. So I do respect that. I do respect Carrick and his squad. And I know they're going to get the job done come tomorrow in the Premier League against Everton. All right, guys. We're going to end today's shows here. And I do appreciate you guys so much. As I always do say, it's love and appreciation because the world was created with love. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit me with a subscribe, hit the thumbs button, turn your notification buttons on so anytime I upload a video, you'll be the first to know, and share the program to keep us going. This is Manchester United, and we always gonna support Manchester United, the biggest club in the world. All right, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow after United take on Everton in the Premier League. And as I said again, guys, it's love and peace. I love you guys, and may the good Lord be with us all. Peace and love.